Hey guys, so in this video, what I'm going to do is just break down this beat, how I made it, and I'm going to go through some of the effects even too, just in my mixer here. And then I think I might make a separate video dealing with the actual mixing of the beat. But for this particular project, what I started with was this sound right here. I started with a lead because I already had an idea for what like the pattern I wanted in my head. So I was already kind of hearing something, so I laid that down. And then after I had that laid down, I decided I needed a couple chords, this is super simple right here. I'll highlight, this is what it's built from, which is a chord progression that Metro Boomin uses a lot, and it just moving down one semitone creates a lot of tension inside the chord, and then it just repeats back and forth. And I added the bass notes down an octave, and I added these middle notes up an octave just to accentuate them a little bit more. As you can hear, it creates a lot of tension, makes it feel like pretty scary and dark. And then after that, I layered my leads just to give it a little more texture and liveliness. And the reason you want to layer your lead is because in certain parts of your arrangement, you'll have a different sound to use to make you'll recognize the rhythm and the pace of it, but you won't recognize the sound, so it'll feel new. You can hear what all three of these sound like together. That's what those all sound like together. And then in the place of the final chorus, I have a verse because I switched up the beat. And what I did was I rendered out those violin sounds. As you can see, when I click into here, I have them reversed. And on our mixer, I have a halftime and a sound goodizer that's turned down very, very low because this plugin can ruin your sounds. And then this is what that sounds like. I just added that for like a little tasteful switch up towards the end. And then once I had all of those sounds done, after I had that figured out, I needed to lay down a couple drums. So normally what I'll do is I'll just stack all of my melody sounds and I'll start working on my drums from there. Something kind of like this is what I'll do. And then I'll just create a new pattern. I'll put it in here and drag it out to the same length. And then I'll highlight it and come into this. This is where I'll make my drum. That way you can have all of your drums and be able to hear the melody in the background. And if you don't like the melody in the background, you can just mute it from your playlist. The very first thing I added in here was this hi-hat. I always add my hi-hat first just because it's pretty basic and can give your shit some bounce right off the bat. And then if you don't know how to create these little rolls like this, it's actually pretty easy. So normally they're going to look like this. And then if you want an easy way to do rolls and just the way I do my hi-hats, if you select them all like this and just make them a regular size and then hit Control Q, all you have to do is select one of these, hit Alt U, which is the chopper, and then this is just going to adjust the speed of your roll, and you can see it on the screen. After that, I brought a couple of my rolls down a couple notes just to make them sound different, and this is what that was sounding like after. So we added our snare next, which I don't even need to look at, honestly. That our snare is always just going to be right here, and if you guys have watched any of my videos, you should know this. I always say this. And then as you can see, I added my 808 before my kick, and my reasoning for this is a lot of times when you choose a really good kick, you won't be able to find an 808 that fits with it. You can sometimes make it work, but it's easier to make a kick work with an 808 rather than an 808 work with a kick. And after we added that 808, here's what it sounded like. So, and you can hear that, you can almost hear that the 808 has like that punch in the beginning. That's what's going to not make it work with certain kicks. Now, the kick is just playing all the same notes as the 808, so it's not going to make a huge difference, but I'll play it for you guys anyways. And then after that, we added in, obviously, the extra things, but this is the base of it. And then we added in a couple perks and open hats just to, you know, if you're struggling with making your drum pattern sound good, it could be the fact that you're only using these 4 things, because this can't complete a drum pattern. You can't make something like, of course it can be, and it can sound good, but it's gonna feel like there's something missing if you don't have anything else throughout the entirety of the song. And there, now, as you guys can see, I've added in our open hats and our perks. I'm just gonna play it with you what it sounds like now. As you can hear, it just makes it sound better in general. And then after that, what I did was take that pattern that I created, which if you look down here is pattern 14, and you can just split it by channel, and it's going to give you all of your drums to play around with when you're making your arrangement. So that's what I'm going to talk about next, is the actual arrangement. Okay, so what I did, as you can see over here, is I just labeled each track so that you can kind of see what I'm talking about. And then up here, this is an accent layer at the very top. This is our lead. And these are our chords, and that's all it is. There's nothing super complicated. What we're doing here is we're introducing just the piano. Piano's going to play nearly full way through. I think we might cut it out somewhere in here a little bit or something like that. But it's going to stay pretty consistent because it's our chords. It is the bass for our song. What we did in the intro, just piano. I'll play this. When we get to here, that perk cuts out. But it brings in the melody. I'll let you hear that. And then halfway through that, we're gonna add the hi-hat back in. We're gonna add the hi-hat back in alongside our open hat. And then at the very end of this 4 bars here, at the end of that, we're gonna bring back the bell from the beginning, and then we'll add in all of our drums that we want for our drop, and I'll play that now. And then halfway through our drop, we add our hi-hat or our open hat back in because it's from the beginning, but it's going to feel new in here because you haven't heard it like that. And you're also getting the perks, which you haven't heard before. And then after that, it's basically your choice to what you want to cut out in between your like the loudest areas of your song. And then I didn't change any of the drums throughout, except for right here in the switch up, I cut out all the hi-hat rolls. And then that was basically everything I did for this beat. So that's how I went about making the sounds and arranging this beat. And if you want to learn how I mixed this, I'll pull up the mixer right here. If you want to learn how all the little effects, all this stuff, I'm going to make another video and I'll leave it linked to this video once it's out. It might not be out yet when you're watching this, but I check anyways because this is going to be very useful stuff. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Get on FL, make some beats, you know, lock in, cook up, do what you need to do.